Please brace yourself. This is one of the dumbest things I have had the misfortune to see this week. So on X, a hardcore, diehard liberal shill named Vicky Campbell replied to Michelle Rempel, the shadow minister for immigration with the Conservative Party. Michelle posted this: 25% of all employees in Canada's fast food industry are non-residents. Meanwhile, 456,000 Canadian youth are unemployed. This is insane. Canadian jobs to Canadians. By the way, that 25% figure was from 2023. It's almost certainly worse today, 2 years later. And here's what Vicky said. Polyev retweeted this disgusting anti-immigrant post. If she had said 75% are residents, it wouldn't sound as bad. They're using Trump's rhetoric. So glad this disgusting party didn't gain power. Disgusting anti-immigrant post? That's the liberal trick. They call anything they don't like anti-immigrant and pretend the debate is over. Newsflash, Michelle's job is immigration. Talking about it is literally her job. And 75% are residents? That's just word games. In 2023, the fast food industry had 406,000 workers. Out of that, 101,500 were migrants. That's more than 100,000 jobs that could have gone to Canadian youth. That's not just a number, that's over 100,000 jobs. Tell that to a Canadian kid sitting at home unemployed who's handed his resume to every place in town. McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, A&W, Walmart, Loblaws, Freshco, Sobeys, Superstore, and the hiring manager is some Indian who barely speaks English and just tosses it in the trash. That's the reality these kids are dealing with. And this is the liberal narrative. If young people don't want to fill these jobs, then we have to import foreigners from third world countries with completely incompatible cultures, people who treat their so-called holy rivers like garbage dumps, people who don't know what the word deodorant means.
Do you know what this is?
I don't know.
You don't know? For
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Do you use it?
I don't need that.
And youth unemployment is sky high. Why? Because the job market is flooded with foreign workers and international students. Employers like them. They love them because they don't quit. They don't demand raises. They don't complain. Meanwhile, the starter jobs Canadian kids used to have, fast food, retail, service work, are disappearing. Self-checkouts replace cashiers, apps replace order takers, and the few jobs left get handed to foreigners instead of Canadian youth. So here's the truth. Foreigners are tied to their employer. They can't just quit or shop around. That makes them easier to control and cheaper to keep, so bosses can take them with pleasure and joy, no hassle, and Canadian kids get tossed aside like garbage, so young Canadians are out there looking for work and they can't get hired because Ottawa designed a system that rewards businesses, franchises, corporations for hiring foreigners over their own people. That's not just bad policy, that's insane, that's radical, that's extremist. Then Vicky says they're using Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric. Trump leaned into immigration in 2016 and he won. Against all odds, he proved populism works when you put citizens first. And here's the irony, Polyev didn't lean into that message enough. He avoided Trumpism. He avoided the Maple MAGA. He softened his tone. He tried to sound careful and polite. And what happened? He lost. If he had gone full populist, full mini Trump, hard on immigration, the outcome would have been totally different. He would have been prime minister, in my opinion. Even Michelle watered it down by calling them non-residents. Normal people say foreigners, migrants. And still, liberals smeared her as a racist. And then Vicky says, so glad this disgusting party didn't gain power. That's their worldview. If you want Canadian jobs for Canadian youth, you're disgusting. If you question immigration, you're racist. If you put your own citizens first, you're anti-immigrant. But what's actually disgusting here is telling Canadians to sit in the back seat while Ottawa rigs the system to benefit everyone but them. And that's Vicky Campbell, ladies and gentlemen, a Carney cheerleader, attacking the shadow minister for immigration just for doing her job. The lesson here is no matter how polite you are, no matter how soft you go, liberals will always call you racist anyway. And in her bio, she says she's a grandmother. Of course it's the boomer. Of course it's the usual suspect. Of course it's the people who hate this country. I hate boomers because you hate me.